Good morning and welcome back to the iCare Group Australia Ipswich Jets after the 80. Brought to you by the Jets Leagues Club, the #1 supporter of rugby league in our community. Huge round of rugby league. We've got Blakey Marra back on the couch. How good's the setting, but we're back. Wrap up all things rugby league at Goodna on the weekend. We've got the Harvey Norman girls. We've got the full round.
Yeah,
full round. Some good results.
Yeah, absolutely.
How'd you go? How'd you pull up?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, you pull up a lot better when you coach and actually playing.
Well, I don't know.
I feel good. I feel like I could go again today, you know.
I do see you pacing around quite a bit up there. Have you ever done your step count on the sideline?
Yeah. I'm up to 20,000 a day. Easy when you coach.
There you go.
What happens is you set up a marker and then like 10 minutes later you realise, it's probably a metre out, then you got to walk back and forth. You rack it up.
Yeah, good.
It's good for you.
Harvey Norman, under 17s girls, massive win, 48-4 over Wide Bay Bulls.
Yep. Yeah, no, it was good.
That one.
Good way for them to finish the year. Unfortunately, didn't qualify for finals, but finished 3-3 this year, which is a massive improvement on last year. And obviously, with the QRL making the change to the pool system, you'd probably argue that our pools this year's our games and our draws probably a lot trickier to manage. Played some really good teams, but at the end of the day, too, I guess that's a good thing for our juniors coming through. It's one thing to play in finals and that, but having that week-to-week tough games of footy this year, it was a credit to them. And yeah, three out of 6 was not too bad. And I think they're building towards something better next year.
Sadiq at Cleven, 22 points in that win, and a hat-trick for Janelle Wiles-Enterman.
Yeah.
Some talented young girls coming through. It's good to see.
Yep, absolutely.
The Siricon under 17 boys, great performance.
Yep.
Caught that one against the Bulls as well. Huge win, 78-6. We know they're not travelling too well, the Bulls, but nonetheless. And we got some talent in that Siricon side. Those 17 boys are just...
Yeah, I think they'll look back on the year and probably feel like they missed an opportunity with the squad they had. But that's junior footy too. You know, I think honestly there's probably a 15-minute period against the Tigers where they all went to sleep. And you look back on moments like that now and you think, gee, if they got that right, they're in the finals and they would have been a genuine threat to that. But yeah, shout out to Wide Bay as well, you know. Probably doing it tough at the moment in the competition. They're the only sort of team that doesn't have a Hostplus Cup or BMD system.
What's the solution for something like that? Like you look at a team like, at the end of the day, we're trying to develop these kids to be future NRL players or Hostplus Cup players, and they don't have. I guess they don't have a pathway there at Wide Bay. They don't have a team to grow into. But what's the solution? Can we mix the 17s and 19s together and play them together so they have a stronger outfit? Or because I just don't see any benefit from 17-year-old kids coming down to Ipswich and getting battered by 70.
Yeah, I think this is a passion point of mine actually when it comes to the development of the game, and I think it's really unfair to have one team in the competition that's operating under a vastly different structure to the rest of them. I think if you look at New South Wales Rugby League, they've got the Laurie Daly and Andrew Johns Cup, which is that country-based model, where they get all the country areas, have their rep teams and play each other. So I think there's one or two ways. You either look at Wide Bay and see it as an expansion point for Hostplus Cup, where one day maybe there's a Hostplus Cup team based out of there and a statewide competition franchise, full board like everyone else, and you invest in that. Or we need to look at competition structures outside of Cyril Connell, Mal Meninga, Harvey Normans, where, like for example, we play our development cup in our region, which also included Toowoomba for kids that weren't in Cyril Connell. That might be an opportunity for a team like Wide Bay to maybe play at that level where they're more competitive and give some exposure to those players to potentially get picked up by a Cyril Connell, Mal Meninga, Harvey Norman system. But yeah, look, it'd be really great if the game could spend some time and look at that area because, like you said,
it just doesn't seem beneficial, does it?
No,
Queensland City Country opportunities coming up for our Cyril Connell boys, 17s. We got some prospects. I went down and watched on the weekend. There's some talented kids. I mean, Asher Batty scored 4. Derek Awang.
Yeah.
Just, mate,
magician.
What a mover. Just an absolute athlete. He's got to be a chance in the City Country outfit, surely.
Yeah, I think the two blokes you mentioned there are probably the most consistent across the season, performance-wise. Look at a Baxter Best who had his moments as well. He's clearly
he was strong yesterday.
Talented athlete. Like it wouldn't shock me if they gave him an opportunity in that sort of game. And I think he's the kind of player too.
He certainly.
The higher it goes, the better he plays.
He certainly doesn't fall far from the Bradman mould, does he?
No,
build any statue.
Yeah, when you say, they're related, it doesn't.
You go,
you can put two and two together.
I could have told you that.
Yeah.
The Harvey Norman under-19s girls, they got a bit of a touch-up, 30-6 against the Tigers. They hung tough to half-time. They went in trailing 10-6 and they just couldn't hold on.
Yep.
Knew his young girls there, but nonetheless, what's the outcome on that result-wise? I mean, does that put them out of the finals now? Or are they waiting for results?
Nah, that's their season over.
Season done.
They needed to win on the weekend and they didn't win. So whoever won that game basically snuck into the 4.
Yeah, right.
Look, at the end of the day, a massive improvement on last year. And again, if we're playing in the same pool as we were last year, you probably are qualifying for finals with the way they played this year. But
that's the tricky thing about this format, isn't it? The draws can be really uneven, so to say, and lopsided. So
I think too, footy these days, especially you look at the scoreline sometimes with the way the games roll on with the speed of the game, and it's not always a fair reflection. As you said, they were really in that game till half time. Look, to me, I think they had a couple of girls out, and I think if you look at our under-17s team and what's coming through, I feel like what we've got coming through 17s, maybe what the 19s lacked a bit. 19s had great defensive grip, but they probably just didn't have someone who was going to break the game open.
Well, that's the pathway, isn't it? Like that's hopefully we bring those girls to graduate through up into our 19s, and then something you do know about your boys, the Mal Meninga Cup under 19s, big win, great performance. Really, it was an important win. Like it's a log jam. It's a shortened format, as everyone knows. 18-10 win over the Tigers. Run us through that. Yeah,
it was good. It was plenty of good signs from our lads. First time we've managed to win 2 games in a row, so we had a bit of a chat about that this week. We just kept going win-loss, and if we're going to make the finals, you've got to put back-to-back performances together. So, and as you said, there's a massive logjam forming. There's a lot of teams that are 3-3 at this point, so we're 4-2, which is a good sign for us. So, puts a lot of pressure into next week. Yeah,
I must say, I really enjoy watching your team get around there, Blakey. It's some great individuals, like some really good athletes. It's you watch it and you go, I don't think I've looked like that or felt like that when I was that age. You know what I mean? The boys, the way they're moving, the physicality. Eddie Rodder, one of your front rowers, he's a class act, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well above his years in maturity. There's a handful of guys there that there's really good young men, and no doubt we'll probably see a few of those guys come up to Hostplus Cup and sort of get a little bit of experience after the season. Hopefully you win the Mal Meninga Cup and we'll get them experience up in the Hostplus Cup and off to bigger and better things.
Yeah, you're right about that. Like we're working really hard at, I guess, trying to have that bit of maturity about our performance, because some of the football they play, like it's hard to even coach some of the things. There was a play on the weekend, they jumped out on the right, then they ended up coming back on the left, but still fell into their shape. And I sat there and I thought, that's like really good. Usually if someone gets out, it breaks down, and then we end up scoring off, and I thought, that's a really good sign. And so, and the maturity of what we showed in that first half was it was top class. So hopefully we can bring a bit of that in the next week.
Hostplus Cup, massive win.
Yeah.
48-6, win over the Tigers. And you know what? It's the response you're looking for, coming off the back of our trip to Hervey Bay. And I thought it was a big question coming back from Hervey Bay and dishing up what we dished up there, and to come back and respond like that. I thought it's a real sign of what sort of group we have. And
what was said at half time? Because I think once again you look at this, it's 24-6 at half time, and how often do you see you're in 24-6 at half time? And I mean, we've seen in the Hostplus Cup teams are leading by 20 plus points at half time and getting run down, or you turn it into a scrappy game and the second half becomes a bit of a non-event. But to score 24 unanswered points in the second half, talk us through that.
There's a few things to unpack. First of all, I thought our coaching staff just done an A-grade job during the week. Like I thought Ty really dialed back the game plan, but he tailored it specifically for the cattle he had in the group. And I thought he just nailed it. And I thought that is probably a reflection of the ability to go on in that second half.
Yep.
And it's one of those ones where it's like coaching's coaching, and as you know, you come up with these plans and some of it works, or like one or two things work and you get really pleased.
Yep.
Everything worked. And it was funny. Like I don't think I've ever seen and a complete individual performance as good as Jalen Groot's yesterday across any grade.
The avocado farmer.
It was one of those games where you watch it and every single time he touched the ball, something happened. Like I don't know how many. I don't know the stats. I don't know how many try assists he had, but I'm going to say it was upwards of 4.
I think one thing I've noticed about Jalen Groot being around the group last year a fair bit is he's very dialed into his footy. So when you spoke before about nailing a good game plan, he's the kind of person I think he would be really dialed into whatever the team's looking to do. So yeah, it doesn't shock me that you're saying there was a great week of preparation, the game plan made sense, that a player like Jalen Groot shines, because like I said, you don't have to talk to him for too long to realise he's really switched on about his footy, and
he loves footy. It's actually it's a great reflection playing Hostplus Cup of people's character who come back from the NRL affiliates, because those guys are expected to be the best players on the field, but they've also got an excuse not to be. Yeah. They don't spend the week there. They're often kicking stones. I'd just like to say, the guys that we've got back from the Titans this year have been the best players by far. Like they're exceptional. I think that's an attitude thing. Like we all know they're good footballers, otherwise they wouldn't be where they are. But their attitudes have just been phenomenal. And like you mentioned, Jalen's just a class bloke. And I think another big mention is Dontre D-Ray. Yeah. His ability to, like, he's not a 7 traditionally.
Yep.
But his ability over to adapt. Like we lost Corey Hertigan in the 20-something minute, and he's adapted and he's basically been thrown this team at him and said, "You got to control this and get us home," and he just nailed it. Yeah. And I thought it was something. I think that's probably a sign of his maturity as a player, and it's something I was super proud of watching him and doing that. And it opens up a debate. I want to get your opinion on this.
Here we go.
The gap between NRL and Hostplus Cup. Can a team win without affiliate players?
In short form, no. Like, not long. Yeah, not really. Like, if you look at all the successive teams, generally they're getting a fair portion of players back. There are times where it might seem like a hindrance, but I reckon if you went back and did your research, you asked me this off my top of my head, is probably consistency with getting people back would be a key contributor. You know, if you're getting someone back 1 week, then not getting them, and then 2 weeks later you're getting them, that's not always a great way of doing it. But if your NRL team's consistent week to week, which means that your players that are coming back to your affiliates are consistent, once again it builds that continuity. So you look at like edges and getting blokes like Tony Francis back and Dean Mbye back, and they're on the wing and they're there for 2 weeks, they're there for 3 weeks, if they're there for 4 weeks, you know how important that communication is on your edge from a defensive point of view. And I think that's the important part. It's the chopping and changing nature at times is what affects teams, because, you know, you play 5 or 6 games with someone, you start to understand how they play. And it got me thinking, like, you know, we're obviously affiliated with the Titans, and they're struggling to win a game at the moment. Like they're going through a phase where they're rebuilding, so to say, and they're chipping away, but they just can't get a result at the moment. Yeah. And they probably haven't been performing, like they haven't been setting the world on fire. But you get those guys back, and you just think this system, they must just be coming out of a magnificent system, because they're so, like, you got Paxton back, Ollie Pascoe back, Jalen Groot, and obviously the 2 wingers. They're so good to watch. You forget how good that calibre of player is, and it made me think, where's the gap, and why is the gap so big? Like, is it the full-time education, or is it the ability to spend that day in, day out on it? I think when you talk to players, like, you know, speaking of Ollie Pascoe and players like that who have spent a bit of time at Cup and now they're lucky enough to be in NRL, I think it's not so much the core training that's different, it's everything around it. And you know that, you've spent your whole life as a professional rugby league player, you know, you access to, you know, nutritionists and the food that's almost being put on your plate day to day. Your recovery. Just all those little things end up adding up. You said the amount of time you have to do video, you know, you're accelerating exponentially as to what a part-time player is. So, yeah, it's little wonder blokes like Jalen come back and put in performances like that.
Next week, we move on. That week's done now. We can't get any more points out of what we got. So we've got to move on. Yeah, it'd be nice. Give us another 2 points.
Wait, before we move past that, you mentioned Dontre Louis. having a really good game. And one of the things I've noticed about him is his defence. From what I've seen, watching him play Hostplus Cup the last couple of years to watching him play this year, I've seen a couple of moments where defensively he's looked really strong, and it's got him playing his best footy. How important is that to a young half? Defensively being strong and how it contributes to your attack.
Well, it's half the game.
Yeah,
like people forget that. I know, the fancy players with the big attacking ability get all the raps and all the highlights, but it's 50% of the game. You got to be able to defend, and when you have a good defensive half, or more so if you have a bad one, it puts so much pressure on the rest of your team. So a bad halfback, defensive halfback can make a bad defensive centre and a bad defensive winger. Yeah. But a good one, vice versa, it makes a good team. And again, like you just mentioned, he's been so impressive. I think it's a reflection of his maturity. Yeah. And it's probably a good reflection. It probably backs the point of how important Hostplus Cup is. He's one of those guys who seems like he needed another 12 months, 24 months of Hostplus Cup to grow. Yeah. And if it wasn't around, they're the guys you lose. So
maybe there's a career for him.
You just don't know. I hope so. The way he's playing. And we'll be looking for another big game next week. We move on to South Logan Magpies down Davies Park. Big one.
Yep. I think we're curtain raising for you that day, so all together again. It's nice.
How good. So we'll cover off on that next week around the grounds. If you're listening, I sat down with Julian Christian, the great Jugger, talked all things rugby league and get to know Jules personally. Special guest today, sitting on the lounge with no other than Julian Christian. Jugger, how are you, brother?
Good, brother. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in. Over 120 Queensland Cup appearances.
Yep, starting to feel it now, actually.
41 tries. Mate, run us through the journey. Where did it all start?
Well, it actually started here at the Jets. I was lucky enough to, once I got to Brizzy, I was with the Broncos NYC team, the under-20s competition, and built like a great relationship with the Walker boys at the time, because the Ipswich Jets was like my feeder club. And it was just a really good experience for me. Once I built that relationship with the Walker boys, I loved my time here. Had a good debut, first few couple games, and then I ended up signing for like 4 years. So I stayed in Ipswich, actually had my first girl here in Ipswich at the Jets.
Ippy boy now.
Yeah, and then made my way back up north, back up home, see the family for a couple years, and then I made my way back here eventually. I always said I was going to finish my career at the Jets, so I'm just happy to be back and to see where the club is going now and what's been built, because there was a couple tough years for the Jets, the community here, but yeah, I'm just glad to be a part of it and help take it in the right direction that it's gone. So
the club's lucky to have you, brother. Kirwan High, you're a Kirwan boy?
Yep.
Where did rugby league start? Where did the passion for rugby league start for you? Where'd you grow up? How'd you fall in love with this game?
Born and bred in Edmonton and Cairns. Come from a footy family. Uncles played, older brother played. So I started off playing my juniors at the Edmonton Storms. And then once I got to, I think it was about grade 10, end of grade 10, me and my best mate got like a scholarship to Kirwan High. Obviously we wanted to go a bit further with our footy, so we thought the right move was to go to Kirwan High, a big footy school, well renowned. And once we got there, the training and everything was just different. I love my time there, great school, great players before us.
Great players. I want to hear who you played with. Who's it? Because Kirwan, like you said, it's a renowned footy school.
Yep.
Give us some big names coming out of there alongside the Jug. You would have set a few tries up there for sure.
Well, outside me, Anari Tuala. He's building his career back up at the Bulldogs. He's going well. Who else was in that team? We had, I'm trying to think, from my 2015 team, there was a couple boys that went on to the NRL that are doing good now, but we had great players before us, like Kieran Mosley, Jason Tomalolo, heaps of big names. So
that's a fair roster.
Yeah. Semi Thaiday, Slam and Sam.
Salary cap. What's the school salary cap?
I don't know. We must have broke it a few times.
And then you made your way up north, Northern Pride. You spent a bit of time with the Cowboys.
Yep.
How was that experience?
Yes, I think it was 2021, mid-season, made the decision to go back home. Just from moving away high school, then straight from high school, had to come down to Brisbane and was just always on the move. So 2021, I was just missing the family and home. So I went back there. Actually wasn't going to play footy when I first got back, but then a few of my best mates were playing park footy, A-grade footy, and got me to come along, and things just started lining up. We ended up making the grand final that year. I lost to the great Yarrabah Seahawks, but the Northern Pride coaches were there in attendance watching the final series and stuff, and things lined up where I ended up signing a contract for the Northern Pride. Started enjoying my footy because I always wanted to play for home. Being a proud born and bred Cairns fella, I always wanted to don that Northern Pride jersey, and I started enjoying my footy playing with my mates. And then we had a good season. Ended up making my way down to the Cowboys for, I think it was 8 to 10 weeks or something, doing a pre-season, and then I actually got to play an NRL trial game at Barlow Park in Cairns in front of all my friends and family. So yeah, it was really good, and that's what sort of brought that love for the game back. And yeah, no, it was a really good time, and learned just that NRL experience, like you touched on with Blakey, but just the day in the life, every day, training, what we eat, food provided for us, the video, everything.
It's a good life, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
It's a good life. You sound like you're missing it.
Nah, it's good at the Jets too.
And you made your way back down to Brizzy, North Devils, 2024. What a season. Won the comp.
Yeah.
Run us through, well, actually, before we get into to how you won the comp, I want to hear, what was the celebrations like after winning the comp? Give us a bit of Jugger insight.
Nah, the celebrations, they went longer, definitely longer than the grand final game. Nah, it was really good. But it's just, well, you know what it's like, winning a competition, and like after all the hard work that you put in during the year, like some would say you spend more time with your footy mates and the coaching staff and stuff like that more than your family, So after a hard year training, and then it pays off at the end of the year, we had to make sure the celebrations were worth it.
And you're back here in Ipswich. You had a little throwaway comment there. You want to finish your career in Ipswich. Do you feel like what's the day in the life look like for Jug, and what's the future hold for you? Do you feel like you got a bit more in the tank, or what's your plans? You don't have to give away too much, but what are because you get to a bit more of a mature age, and you start thinking beyond the game and what your lives look like for you. You got a young family. What's your plans? Do you have any plans in place?
Yeah, no. If the footy, it's always been about footy and seeing how long I can go. But as you know, through pre-season and stuff, getting a bit older and starting to feel this soft tissue injuries. But I feel like I got maybe a couple more years in the tank. But if not, like I'm really happy, and I'm at that stage in my life now where like I've just moved into starting to coach both of my daughters. They're playing footy, junior footy, and I just really love it. And even just helping out the young kids, especially in the community here, with the type of work that I do in schools and around sport. I love giving back to the community and love working with that next generation. So yeah, if the body holds up and if I fit into the team and the coaching staff want me back, I'd be happy to play a couple more years for this great team, this great club. But yeah, if not, I'm really happy and at that place where I love being around the footy and just getting to watch it. Like some days, like there was a couple of weeks there where I was either injured or serving my suspension, where I just got to just watch it, and I wasn't worried about had to be here on time or training. I could just plan my whole weekend around going to watch my girls, coaching them, going home, watching the footy, going to watch some of my mates play. So no, it's really good just to watch something.
It is, mate. It is. I do understand what you mean. And you've been around long enough to see a lot of change in the game, I guess, at this level, at Hostplus Cup. What do you think? What do you think about the state of the game at the moment, the state of the competition? Do you think it's gotten stronger throughout your career, or what do you think we're missing? or maybe we're missing nothing? What do you just give us your thoughts on that?
I feel like the game has gotten a bit better after spending the last 10 years in this competition. There was a few years where the competition was very lopsided. You'd have like your strong teams that always win, and then you got your bottom teams. But as we know, like the Jets, they served a few years on the bottom of the ladder. Now we made the finals last year. Toowoomba Clydesdales, they got the Walker boys on board, and they've actually started. They haven't got a few wins, but you can see that they're growing each week and they're getting stronger. I feel like the competition all round has gotten stronger, and it's going to continue to do that with NRL affiliates and stuff like that. But I just feel like the competition has definitely got a bit even across the board. So it's good, and hopefully it continues to get like that.
And back to the Jets. Why is it the club for you, and what do you like about it?
Everything. Just it's my home away from home. Obviously, proud Cairns fella, and I love my home. But Jets, I've spent a large portion of my life here. Like I said, I've had both of my daughters here, and I've really just grown to love this community, and they love me too. Like at our games on the weekend, even when you're just cruising around the city, no one ever walks past you. They love to come up and talk footy or just talk life. And I've done a lot of work here, working for Deadly Choices. I've been lucky enough to just travel around the community with our elders, with our young kids, with the sporting community. It's just great. I love going to work every day, and then I love playing, and then seeing those same people around on the weekend. And my daughters love it too. So
that's good.
It's just a really good club. And as you said, we touched on before, like I seen the club at its lows and at its highs. I got here the year after they won in 2015, and then I seen it also drop. But now to see where the club is just going and the community where it's moving, it's just going up. And I just love to be a part of it. And I can't see myself finishing at any other club.
Good on ya. A few questions. Let our listeners get to know Jugga a little bit deeper. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I've gotten a lot of advice over the years, actually. I was a bit wild as a young fella going on the list, but probably just being respectful on and off the field. And actually one piece of advice that I always did remember is like off the field, if you're doing good in your home life, taking care of your family, your partner, whatever it is, then usually on the field will take care of itself. So I try to do my job at work and try to look after my family and stuff like that, and then usually footy just takes care of itself. So if you take care of yourself outside of footy, everything will look after itself.
Who's been the most influential person in your life? It doesn't have to be footy.
Probably my two siblings, my older brother and my sister. My older sister raised me, and my brother. But mostly my sister, and we're just really, really close with everything since I was a young fella. Just giving me advice. I still talk to them every single, if not weekly, every second day. Try to touch in every single chance I get to go back home. Go back home. Just helped me with a lot of stuff on my journey to where I am now. So yeah, very grateful. But yeah, definitely my siblings.
Do you have a hidden talent?
Well, some used to say drinking, but I don't know if I can say that anymore. It's not a deadly choice. I guess make people laugh at serious times. I'd say that.
That is a good talent. All right, this one. Do you have any game day superstitions?
Game day superstitions.
If you got to think too hard, you don't have one.
Yeah,
people, you know what they're like.
See, I'm at that stage. I forgot. As a young fella, used to be so serious on game day. It used to be I'd have to have the same breakfast every single game day, same routine as it is. Bit of a cliche, but yeah, really. But now as I've matured and I really know my body and what I like to do and stuff like that, it's just
get out and get it done.
Yeah, get out, get the W. If we get that, don't worry about anything else.
Who's the best player you've ever played with?
There's definitely been two. I'd probably say Mal Meninga. I definitely just loved playing alongside him, even watching him, because I was a young fella when I started at the Jets, and yeah, he was just an excitement machine. Get him the ball. Him and Michael Purcell, they were just my favourite players to play with. But then a lot of my game, I've sort of moulded it and learnt of Kieran Mosley. We played a few years together, and then I came back to North Devils, won a comp with him.
And something we like to finish with, a little question. It's have a quick think about it. A highlight, a low light, and something you do differently. And this could just be anything in your life. Doesn't have to be rugby league related.
Highlight, definitely, apart from my daughters, definitely the North Devils year that we had. After spending a while in this competition, it was good to finally win one. And what was the other one? Low light?
Low light.
Thing I could do differently? Probably just my time at the Cowboys. It was good. I was soaking a lot in, but I just feel like I definitely could have done a couple of things different and just make a little bit more of it. Try a bit harder. But yeah, there's not much things that I would do differently. I'm happy with where I am, how the journey's gone so far. But yeah, if I had to be picky, maybe just if I could do a little bit more in that period of time. But
Jug, thanks for coming on, brother.
Thanks for having me, Brass.
Number one guest, Jugger. The iCare Group Australia, Ipswich Jets after the 80. Getting to know our players. Appreciate all the listeners. We'll catch you next week.